On everyone, it's Alex here back with the forecast. So we have a lot to talk about. We're gonna be talking about the front a bit for tomorrow. Could be bringing some potential morning thunderstorms. Some very loud thunder in the morning. We'll talk about that, as well as we're gonna be talking about a nor'easter type system or a tropical storm by this week. So we will get into those details very shortly. And first off, we need to talk about this front that's gonna be rolling through the northeast tomorrow. So NAM's a little aggressive on these storms because they're not really forming that much. So you just get the idea. It's going to be a very soggy evening for you in Pennsylvania, New York, anywhere in the Northeast except the coastal sections. Coastal sections will start to get the rain later. There could be some heavy rain and pretty loud lightning and thunder if you do get caught in one of these heavier downpours. And I cannot rule out an isolated stronger thunderstorm where you do get more frequent lightning. It's certainly not impossible. And also, by the time we're getting into tomorrow morning, see that very heavy band of rain entering through western Mass into New York, into eastern Pennsylvania. That's the band of convection I'm starting to watch out for by the early morning hours. And when we get to 8 a.m., 9 a.m., the band of convection really starts to get going. And I will probably have to say that might be our greatest thunderstorm chance out of what I'm seeing right now. 10 a.m. Look at that thin line of heavy thunderstorms. Probably thunderstorms at this point because there are darker contours. Look at this by 11. So this is a little bit of an interesting feature on the NAM. It isn't only on the NAM though. It is on the HRRR, it is on the RFS, and it is on some other models. So maybe there will be some kind of sneaky thunderstorm threat we might have to watch out tomorrow morning. So we could get some pretty loud thunderstorms if this does happen. So I'm going to watch that. Band of convection moves offshore. That's some pretty nasty line of storms potentially moving through. And it exits offshore entirely after 1 p.m. So that's your timeline. And honestly, the rainfall could be quite impressive if you get under one of these very heavy bands. Yeah, it could be maybe potentially up to 1 to 2 inches. So very beneficial soaking rain we are forecasting for tomorrow. Again, drenching showers and potentially some stronger thunderstorms that we may be talking about. So yeah, we might be talking about some thunderstorms finally. We'll see. But it also could be that we just deal with rain. So we'll see how it all evolves, and we'll see if we get any lightning from tomorrow. But that's not, my main concern. My main concern, again, what we're talking about is people are starting to, really hype social media up about this coastal storm and potential nor'easter for the mid-Atlantic coastline. And honestly, I kind of want to join on that hype because all the models, honestly, are agreeing on it. Now, placement is still to be determined. The European model has been going south, and we're going to show you the latest Euro in a minute, and it does bring 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts up to our area. That is a problem, but we're going to take a look at that in a moment. But we are seeing trends that it's starting to shift a little north again. Again, it really depends on that high pressure, where it goes. Is it over the Great Lakes or is it over the Ohio River Valley? So we are going to get into that very shortly here. If you want to take a look at the HRRR, it probably shows you the same amount of rain. And I'm going to show you very shortly about what kind of feature I'm watching for tomorrow. I don't think it's on this one, but I think it was on some other run where it was actually a very impressive line of thunderstorms. Maybe not this one, but I feel that it's definitely possible. So we're going to get into the Euro here. And we're going to zoom out to the whole entire U.S. so you can see what's happening. So the 6Z, as we know, and the 0Z has been hinting, this coastal storm develops. But what you notice right off the bat is the high moves over to the south a little bit. And what happens is when that happens, you see that H right there? It's much further south. And what ends up happening is you have a stalling low pressure over the mid-Atlantic coastline over near the Carolinas. And the Outer Banks would really be in trouble in that case. And I think the Outer Banks could get a couple more homes destroyed from the waves for sure. I think the Outer Banks are seriously in trouble for wave and total destruction of homes on the coastline. So I'd be worried about that. But you notice what the Euro does is very strange. It stalls the system and then literally just pulls it back into South Carolina backwards. Why is this happening? Because you have a high pressure that's, starting to dominate. And what happens is you get that high to build over the northeast and a little bit of the northern mid-Atlantic. What happens is the system starts to retrograde back. And this even starts to make a sort of landfall into South Carolina, pulls back to Florida, and then ends at Georgia. And then what you see is a very powerful monster brewing up in the north. That could be our next front that comes through, but we'll have to see about that. Now, we go back to the 12Z, and the 12Z, it likes the idea of that high pressure being way further north. That's the key difference. The high pressure on one of these model runs are much further south and west. This one's more north. And what happens is the high pressure is far north enough that you still get that coastal system to develop, but the high pressure is offshore. And what happens is the high pressure and the low pressure immediately pulls up the coast, delivers heavy drenching rains towards the Carolinas, Virginia, Delaware, New Jersey, Massachusetts. And yes, we could be talking about tropical tornadoes if we do get enough speed shear. As people mentioned, this is a possibility. We may have to watch out for outer band thunderstorms coming in on Sunday afternoon. And then once we get into Sunday night, this low pressure really starts to get its act up together. And we see outer bands of this thing affecting New Jersey with powerful winds and probably some powerful thunderstorms as well. And this even starts to go a little further north. And now we're starting to deal with that 60 plus mile per hour wind gusts in New Jersey statewide. Most powerful near southeast New Jersey, near Belmar. But in our area, we still have howling winds, low pressure down to a 990. This is really just producing tremendous amount of wind. For a nor'easter standard, this could be tropical. So, I don't know what's going to happen, but dude, if this were to happen, we would be talking about power outages, we'd be talking about tree damage, not only the heavy rainfall we would deal with, but the wind with the system would down trees, create so much problems at the coast as well. 17 to 20 foot waves, man, this would be really bad, but we'll have to see. And according to the New European, the low pressure actually does get close enough to New Jersey to produce landfall near Delaware. So, oh boy, yeah. And the latest 12Z is not looking good. And also, what I want you to look at is the 500 millibar height anomaly. So, we're going to go back to the 0Z, and you're going to see the key difference here is that you have a massive high ridge, but on the 12Z here, you have already a little bit of an upper level low that starts to develop. And what that does is the low starts to drape into the Great Lakes. And what it does is, since the high pressure traps it, once that high pressure traps it, it combines forces, kind of like a Fujiwara effect, where you have two low pressures combining. That one from the Atlantic just goes right into the coast, and that's what happens. You have that Fujiwara effect, and that pretty much just starts affecting Delaware and the Mid-Atlantic really pretty significantly. But with the other run that we saw, it was really different because we didn't see an upper low at all from the Great Lakes. And what happened is your low developed way further south. And it does the same thing. However, that low starts to retrograde back to the south because of that very high, dominating high pressure that we're seeing up in the north. So again, it all comes down to where this high pressure is going to be. Who sees the impacts? Who sees the strong wind? Who sees the tornadoes? Who sees the outer bands? Who sees the heaviest rain is all determined on where that high pressure sets up. And it is a forecasting nightmare at this point. So we just don't know what's going to happen. And also, dude, I mean, what we've been seeing with tropical systems this year is they are forecasted to make a landfall near South Carolina. None of them have made landfall because what happens is you get a pull from the Atlantic Ocean and it immediately pulls it out because there's combining forces with fronts that forecasts don't see. So this is going to be a real test. Who is going to be right in this case? And also, we're going to take a look at the latest GFS here. This is also a really important determination of are we going to see actual tropical storm. Latest GFS, man, it is bringing potential category 1 impacts to the Jersey Shore, into Delaware, into the mid-Atlantic coastline. Dude, this is a 9, I don't even know how low that low pressure is. That's a 986 low pressure. So we're talking about Cat 1 force winds. We're talking about outer bands. We're talking heavy rainfall, 20-foot plus waves. I mean, this would be really bad. And unfortunately, the GFS is trending further north with the Euro. And everyone else is agreeing on this. So I have to warn you, the models are still not locked in. But they have been making it further north, where the low pressure is further north, and that makes it retrograde. That coastal storm makes it retrograde back to the west, and that's why you may have a tropical system right near us. So this is a really concerning setup. Nonetheless, even if you don't get the worst of the impacts, you're still going to get some very strong winds, down trees, power lines, everything. So again, we really need to see where the heck that low pressure sets up. And if we take a look at the 500 millibar anomaly, if you want to see here for a short while, the same exact thing happens where you have that upper low near the Great Lakes. And what happens is that Atlantic storm gets pulled in immediately, and you get a very strong low pressure that just goes right up the coast. So this is not good. This is not good by any means. And we're going to need to watch this very closely. And I have a feeling this is trending in a bad direction, that we may have some very bad impacts out of this. If we take a look at the Northeast, I mean, just look how tight these gradients are. We could be dealing with very strong tropical storm force winds at this rate. So, you know, if I were you, I would be preparing on the mid-Atlantic coastline, ducking everything down, honestly, because someone's going to get impacted by this. Someone will get absolutely hammered by this. Someone will stay without power for days. We are talking about that. But who is it? We need to iron it out, what this storm will do. It's going to be very tricky, but again, we have to be on alert for this. And also, we're going to take a look at the impacts that the models aren't showing on pivotal weather. Let's just take a sample of the Euro right now, and you're going to see immediately that it is trending way stronger than earlier. I mean, just look at this wind near Virginia Beach, just off the coast. This is 60 to 70 mile per hour winds right off the bat. And what happens is this thing really starts to gain some strength, 60, 70 mile an hour wind gusts right offshore, and this thing really picks up speed. We're talking very strong winds battering the New Jersey coastline and the mid-Atlantic, and then watch as it just barrels right into the tri-state area in New Jersey with 40 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. By the time we reach Sunday afternoon, we have tropical storm force winds absolutely battering New Jersey, and this continues throughout the night, where we might even have 80 mile per hour wind gusts offshore of Atlantic City. Yes, this is This is very concerning, and it just continues to batter the coastline, and it just gets worse by the time we get into Monday because the winds just start to change direction. Man, we are dealing with 60 plus mile an hour wind gusts statewide. This is really not good what we're seeing from the European. And to make it even worse, the GFS is not looking good either. It literally just develops a full-on tropical storm slash land hurricane throughout the whole entire New Jersey coast and into Connecticut and into Boston. So, man, either way you look at it, we're going to be dealing with some significant impacts. I don't know if it's going to be Carolinas, Delaware, New Jersey, Massachusetts, but I think if you personally are near Virginia Beach, you need to start getting ready for this. Delaware, I think there's a good shot you need to start getting ready at this. And the Jersey Shore are my 3 primary concerning areas where I think this thing could make a potential landfall. So, again, I don't want to make it sound like a Sandy situation, but the models are trending, and these winds are no joke. Remember the last wind event we had February 16th? The 50 mile per hour wind gusts go a long way. It just down trees a lot of places in this town. Dude, I'm telling you, for this many hours to deal with tropical storm force impacts is going to have a huge effect here. And I'm just starting to become increasingly worried about this, because it's not only just a 1-day trend, 2-day trend, 3-day trend. This has been going on for the past week that we've been seeing this. And now it's trending further north. And now we have to start being worried for the Jersey coastline, for DC, for Delaware, for Virginia, and the Carolinas. All right, guys, I will see you guys later. And I think we will update for tomorrow. But again, be ready for this weekend. I plead you don't make any plans for this weekend if you're near these areas, because this can cost you, okay? I don't want you to be driving into a tropical storm in the wrong time, okay? So I'll see you guys later, and I will give a very important update tomorrow.